Have you ever really wanted to read more, dive into books, but then found it surprisingly hard to actually make time for it?
Yeah, it's a common feeling.
Or maybe you've wondered if reading truly holds its own against, well, everything else. The endless scrolls, streaming shows, those quick video explainers.
Right. The competition is fierce.
Let's be honest, sometimes reading feels less immediately exciting, doesn't it?
Right.
Maybe even like a chore instead of, a gateway.
It can feel that way sometimes, absolutely.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into this whole world of reading. Our mission, really, is to understand what actually happens when we read,
Hmm.
the impact it has, like deep down in our brains and lives. And crucially, some practical, maybe even counterintuitive ways to make reading feel natural, rewarding, part of daily life.
Yeah, making it stick.
Exactly. And this deep dive, it's based on some really fascinating stuff, a mix of educational research on how reading is taught and modern insights into brain function, habits, all of it. Okay, let's unpack this.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
So let's zoom right in. What's actually happening inside our heads the moment our eyes hit the page?
Ah.
Or those, immediate transformations?
Okay, yeah. It's a pretty remarkable journey, and it happens incredibly fast. First, your eyes obviously capture the symbols, the letters, the words,
Right.
and they send that visual info straight back to your occipital lobe. That's at the very back of your head. It's the brain's visual processing center.
Got it. Visuals first.
Then that information travels pretty quickly to your temporal lobe. That's nearer your temples.
Okay.
And that's where word recognition happens. Identifying the word, understanding its meaning, and get this is also where something called subvocalization happens.
Subvocalization. Is that the little voice?
That's the one, the little voice you hear in your head when you read silently.
Hmm. I always thought that was just me being weird. But wait, I think I read somewhere that this little voice, it actually helps somehow. Is that right?
It absolutely is. And it's like a really cool fun fact from the sources. When you do that silent subvocalization, it can actually improve your eloquence over time.
Really? How?
Well, there are these tiny micro contractions in your throat muscles. You don't notice them, obviously,
Mm.
but they build up, and it's like they're practicing making you a better speaker.
Wow. So it's like a silent workout for your vocal cords while you're learning.
Pretty much. But the journey doesn't stop there. The information then spreads out. It goes to your prefrontal cortex right behind your forehead.
Okay, the thinking part.
Exactly, for
Mm.
questioning, deeper reflection, really understanding. And then your amygdala gets involved for the emotional side of things, feeling the story, the argument,
Right, the emotional impact.
and finally the hippocampus, which is, crucial for locking that information into memory.
So visual, meaning subvocalization, thinking, feeling, memory, all at once.
Pretty much all at once. And the most astonishing part, this whole complex chain reaction, it happens in less than 2
Less
seconds.
than 2 seconds. That's
Yeah.
incredibly fast.
It really is. Think about that speed repeated over and over as you read.
Yeah, you multiply that. Minutes, hours, years. You can really see how reading becomes this, well, you called it a cheat code in the prep, didn't you? For our minds.
Huh. Yeah, it kind of feels like that sometimes.
Because the sources link this directly to huge benefits like improved reflection, better decision making. That's the prefrontal cortex, right?
Exactly.
Developed, hello, hippocampus, enhanced emotional processing from the amygdala.
Hmm.
And I was fascinated by the studies showing reading fiction specifically develops empathy. Like it trains your brain to see from other perspectives.
Yeah, stepping into someone else's shoes mentally, it's powerful.
And then there's the potential protection against Alzheimer's. That's huge. It's like a cognitive shield.
It really seems to keep the brain active and resilient.
One source even mentioned a specific book, Memoir vous avez le pouvoir. The idea being reading a book about memory could have this double impact. You get the tips and the brain workout.
That's a neat idea, yeah. Combining the content with the act itself.
Okay, so we've got the brain mechanics mapped out. Super interesting.
Yeah.
But there's this deeper question that really grabbed me. What does it actually mean to know how to read? It's got to be more than just sounding out words, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's where some of the educational research really shifts the perspective.
How so?
Well, the core idea is that learning to read isn't just about getting good at decoding, like turning symbols into sounds automatically, or just practicing skills.
Okay.
It's much deeper. It's about the appropriation of written language, basically making it your own, and mastering language in general. And crucially, it's rooted in a child's actual life, their social world, their personal experiences.
So less mechanical skill, more holistic understanding.
Exactly. Which is why some educators took this really interesting approach, using real-world texts with very young kids.
Mhm.
First graders, CP in the French system, who couldn't technically read yet.
Real-world texts, like what?
Like the local newspaper. Le Dépêche Midi, in one example. The goal wasn't just decoding, but teaching them to understand and even produce all kinds of texts you find out there in the world.
Wow, a newspaper for 6-year-olds.
Yeah. But also literary texts, ads, science articles, kids' magazines, official letters, comics, textbooks, everything. The point was to master the function and form of all of them, not just stories.
So understanding why something was written and who it's for.
Precisely. Like one teacher's goal. Helping kids see that any written text is made by someone to communicate something and that it actually concerns them. It connects reading to their world right away.
That's a totally different way of thinking about it. It sounds like they're really interacting with the text even before they can read every word.
Yeah.
Like processing clues, was that the term? An activity of processing indices.
Exactly, processing indices. And yes, we all do it, even as skilled adult writers, just much faster. But kids, even before decoding, they use this complex strategy.
How does that work? What kind of clues?
Well, they use everything they've got. Prior experiences, what they know about the world, visual stuff like pictures, the layout on the page.
Okay.
There was this great example. Kids saw a photo of Boumediene, a political figure, but because of his hat, they thought he was the Pope.
Oh, wow.
It took the written caption, the title, to clear up that confusion. They needed that extra index.
Makes sense.
They also use logos, like a supermarket logo, Carrefour in the example, to recognize words or guess the topic, even basic punctuation, question marks, quotation marks. They pick up on those as clues to meaning really early on.
So they're like little detectives piecing it together.
Absolutely. And cognitive conflict is key. Like kids arguing about a crossed out price in an ad. Does it mean it's a mistake? Or is the item gone? That discussion, that uncertainty, that's where learning happens.
Right, wrestling with the meaning.
Yeah, and they even learn the structure of things, like a newspaper. Understanding the front page of the Yoon is different from the back page. It's all part of building that understanding.
This really flips my script on, traditional methods like reading aloud. We always thought that was the way to check comprehension. Or focusing only on phonics. What's the biggest misconception there?
That's a huge one. The pedagogical view we're drawing on sees reading aloud differently. It's seen as a performance, right, an oral interpretation. But it actually presupposes you've already understood it.
Oh, interesting. So you understand first, then read aloud.
Ideally, yes. The purpose is sharing info or pleasure, not really proving you get it. And think about it, someone can be a great oral reader but not fully grasp the meaning, and vice versa.
Huh. Never thought it that way. Okay, what about the code work, phonics and stuff?
Right, the phonographic code.
Yeah.
Well, the research here suggests that working on the code, how letters sound, spelling patterns is important, but it serves comprehension. It's not that comprehension just automatically happens once you can decode perfectly.
So code work helped you figure things out.
Exactly. It helps kids identify linguistic clues, spelling, word meanings, sentence structure to check their guesses, solve reading problems, maybe read a bit faster. It's about understanding how language itself works.
Gotcha.
Like the example of kids saying, Bonne fête, maman, Happy Mother's Day. They might notice, hey, that's 3 packets of letters, but only one thing heard when said aloud. They're noticing the difference between written and spoken language.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. It's a much more complex picture.
It is. And this whole process of meaning making, it takes time, which really justifies why learning to read needs to be this continuous journey, starting right from early childhood.
Okay, so we've got the brain whirring away. We've redefined reading as this active meaning making. Now let's pull back again. Let's look at the full spectrum. How does all this translate into real-world benefits that touch, well, pretty much every part of our lives?
Yeah, it's pretty wide-ranging when you list it out. I mean, first, the obvious one, entertainment and pleasure, just escaping into a story, forgetting your troubles, reducing stress.
Can't beat a good story for that.
Well, absolutely. Then there's memory and cognitive abilities. Reading forces you to retain information, right? Characters, plot points. Plus, you're constantly visualizing places, people, scenes. It really stimulates the imagination. It's like training for your brain, keeping it sharp.
Yeah, mental gymnastics.
Exactly. And in today's world, this is huge. Concentration and attention. Reading demands singular focus. It pulls you in, immerses you, and that actually trains your brain to resist multitasking.
Ooh, I need that.
Yeah.
So reading helps you focus better generally.
Yes, that skill spills over.
Yeah.
Better productivity, just being more present. Then oral and written expression. Honestly, reading is probably the single best way to build a rich vocabulary. And that naturally boosts your confidence, your charisma, how you communicate at work personally.
Makes sense. You have more words. You can express yourself better.
Precisely. And of course, knowledge acquisition. You're just constantly absorbing information, opening up new perspectives. It makes you more capable of facing challenges. You have more resources to draw on.
Right. Building your mental toolkit.
And related to that is analytical and critical thinking. Reading encourages you to analyze information, weigh different arguments, understand nuances. It helps you make sense of the world, tackle problems calmly.
See behind the headlines, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. We touched on stress and anxiety reduction. Just transporting your mind elsewhere calms you down, improves your mood.
A mental vacation.
Totally. And improved sleep quality. Reading before bed, especially a physical book or a non-glaring e-reader, really helps soothe the mind. Much better than staring at a bright screen.
Good tip. Ditch the phone light.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And finally, personal development. Reading is just this incredibly powerful tool for gaining knowledge, broadening your horizons, spotting new opportunities. But, and this is key, you have to act on what you learn. Reading gives you the map, you still have to take the journey.
That's a great list. It's undeniable, isn't it? Reading isn't just passive. It's this dynamic thing that changes our brains, improves our lives. It really does feel like that cheat code.
Yeah.
But this raises the big question. If it's so good for us, why do so many of us, myself included sometimes, struggle to make it a regular habit? Especially now with phones buzzing.
Yes. The struggle is real. And the sources point to a clear culprit. The super powerful competitor, your phone, social media apps.
Yeah, the doom scroll.
Exactly. Our brains are kind of wired to save energy, right? And the phone often feels like the path of least resistance. Less concentration needed, instant little dopamine hits. Reading seems harder in comparison.
So it's a battle for attention and the phone usually wins.
Often, yeah. But the sources offer some ways to fight back. Specifically, 3 pillars for reading more. The goal isn't just building a habit, but making reading an evidence something you just do.
Okay, pillar 1.
The first hour, or even just 90 seconds of your day, the idea here is super interesting. Your very first mental activity kind of sets the tone for the whole day. There was an example where someone read just 10 pages right after waking up, and they found they actually wanted to read more throughout the day. But if the first thing you do is check your phone.
You're setting yourself up for more phone time.
Exactly, you reinforce that pattern. So the advice is, even 1 page, just 1 in those first few minutes can make a difference. Prime your brain for reading.
Okay, first hour. Got it. Pillar 2.
Friction. This one's clever. It's about adding friction, making things harder for the stuff you want to do less, like mindless scrolling, and removing friction for reading.
Okay, how do you add friction to social media? Lock your phone in a box.
Maybe not that extreme, but yeah, things like putting your phone in black and white mode makes it less appealing, using app codes. Or one example was a time blocker, like a 6-second delay before Instagram opens. Just enough pause to make you think, do I really want to do this?
A little speed bump for the habit.
Exactly. And then you remove friction for reading. Always carry a small book. Put books where your phone usually lives, your bag, coat pocket, bedside table, near the sofa. Make picking up a book just as easy or easier than grabbing your phone.
That friction idea.
Yeah.
It sounds simple, but I bet it's tricky. Like, for someone really glued to their phone, what's the main hurdle? Just forgetting to set it up.
That's a really good point. I think the biggest hurdle is underestimating how automatic that phone habit is. It's not just forgetting, it's fighting that ingrained default, that path of least resistance your brain loves.
So you need to be really intentional, especially at first.
Yeah, exactly. You need conscious effort to apply that friction consistently until reading starts to feel like the easier, more natural choice.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads to the third pillar.
Okay, pillar 3.
Kairos. It's a Greek concept, basically means the opportune moment.
The right time.
Kind of. But the challenge here is to stop thinking there's a perfect time to read. I mean, when do we ever ask, is this the right moment to check my phone?
Huh? Ever. Good point.
Right. So the idea is almost any moment of pause where you instinctively reach for your phone, waiting in line, coffee break, on the bus that is the opportune moment, replace the phone check with opening a book. The right moment is the one you choose.
Reclaiming those little pockets of time. I like that. Okay, those pillars are great strategies. And building on that, one source laid out 5 personal rules for reading and learning. I thought these were really practical guidelines.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Number 1, you won't retain everything. And that's okay. Filter. Focus on what matters to you. Don't aim for 100% recall.
Yeah, ditch the perfectionism.
Number 2, you will miss information. Also, okay, skip bits, get distracted sometimes. It's about engagement, not perfect absorption.
Progress over perfection.
Number 3, take 30 seconds after reading to memorize. Just a quick mental review of what you just read. Apparently, this really helps anchor it.
Simple but effective. Really locks it in.
Number 4, learn a minimum of 10 minutes per day. Make it non-negotiable. Book, article, podcast, just consistent daily learning.
Compound interest for your brain.
Exactly. And number 5, always know your next learning source. Have the next book or topic lined up. Avoids losing momentum in those decision gaps.
Keep the flow going. Great rules.
Definitely useful. But what about people who just don't like reading? Maybe they had bad experiences at school.
Yeah, that's a real barrier for some. The sources had good advice there, too. First, identify your motivation. Why do you want to read? Skill. Escape. Understanding something specific. Connect it to what actually matters to you.
Make it personal.
Right. Second, choose what resonates. Forget the shoulds. Explore genres, horror, sci-fi, history, romance, whatever. Find topics you're already passionate about. Read about your hobbies.
That's huge. I remember trying to force myself through some classic in high school. Nearly put me off reading for good. Sounds like the advice is, don't let a should read kill your desire to read at all.
Exactly, which leads to the third point. Don't force it. If a book just isn't clicking after, say, 50 or 75 pages, put it down.
Permission to quit.
Absolutely. Slogging through something you hate just builds aversion. It's okay to say, not for me.
Good to know. What else?
Fourth, it's personal, not a competition. Read what you enjoy. Don't compare your reading list or speed to anyone else's. No guilt. It's your journey.
Love that.
And fifth, look beyond books. Magazines, blogs, websites, long-form articles. It all counts as reading. They can be great entry points or just part of your reading mix.
Right. Expand the definition of reading. Makes it less intimidating.
Totally. Every word counts towards building the habit and getting the benefits.
That's fantastic advice. So many ways in. Now let's shift gears slightly. How do we foster this love for reading? Not just in ourselves, maybe reigniting it, but especially in others, particularly kids. For many of us, that's where it started, right? Good or bad?
Absolutely. And the sources offer some really wonderful nurturing strategies for kids, which honestly adults can apply to themselves too.
Okay, like what?
First, offer choice. Huge one. Let kids choose what they read based on their interests, not just classics, comics, magazines, whatever excites them, and let them choose how and where they read.
Give them ownership.
Exactly. Second, create a reading-rich environment. Just have cool, interesting books easily accessible at home. Make them part of the furniture.
Make it visible.
Third, be a role model. This is crucial. Let kids see you reading, enjoying it. They copy what they see you value.
Actions speak louder.
For sure. Fourth, read as a family. Make it a shared, cozy, fun time. No pressure, just enjoyment. Positive associations are key.
Nice. Like story time, but for all ages.
Kind of, yeah. Fifth, have a dedicated reading space. A comfy chair, good light, maybe a quiet corner. Make it pleasant and distraction-free.
A reading nook.
Yep. Sixth, use books as rewards. Position reading as a treat, a pleasure. Maybe a trip to the bookstore to pick out a new book.
Associate it with good things.
Seventh, encourage creativity beyond the last page. Don't just finish the book and stop. Ask them to draw a scene, read aloud in funny voices, talk about how it made them feel, predict what happens next, maybe even write their own sequel.
Keep the engagement going.
Yeah. And finally, maybe the most important, provide support and encouragement. Never, ever tell a young reader their idea or interpretation is wrong.
Ooh, that's big.
Huge. Instead, be curious. Ask how they got that idea. Gently guide them if they're struggling, but never make them feel stupid or wrong. Accept all their comments as valid starting points. Build their confidence. Don't crush it.
That's such a supportive approach.
Yeah.
Empowering, not judging.
Exactly.
And it strikes me that nurturing approach, it applies just as much to us adults, doesn't it? Especially if we carry baggage from school. We need to give ourselves that same permission and curiosity.
Absolutely. Be kind to yourself as a reader.
Maybe try reading with friends. Start a casual book club. Try reading plays aloud for a different feel. Research an author you like.
All great ideas. And don't just stick to one genre once you find something you like. Keep exploring. You never know what else you might discover. Ask people with similar tastes for recommendations. The reading world is vast.
It really is. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, the big takeaway for me is reading isn't passive. It's this incredibly dynamic thing. It changes our brains, improves our lives in so many ways, and it really is accessible to everyone.
Yeah, that's the core message. And just to loop back to that educational research that functionalist and variationist view really highlights how reading connects language science with our actual social and cultural lives. Mastering language isn't just about rules, it's about understanding how it works out there in the world.
Makes total sense. So here's a final thought to leave you with. If reading is truly this active process of seeking and building meaning, and if your brain is constantly changing in response, what new perspective might you unlock? Or what forgotten part of yourself might you rediscover if you just intentionally engage with one new type of writing today? Could be anything.
Interesting question.
We really encourage you to try just one small strategy from today. Maybe reading that first page in the morning. Maybe swapping just one phone check for a book. See what shifts. Notice the change in your thinking, your focus.
Small steps can lead to big changes.
Absolutely. Because remember that quote from Mark Twain? The man who does not read has no advantage over the man who cannot read. Makes you think, doesn't it?